on, guys? It is Tom, and welcome back to another video. Now, this one I'm really excited about, and it's because we're in a new studio. Now, this is 2,100 square feet. It's actually in the same building that our current studio's in, and don't worry, we're gonna keep the current space, so those sets will remain, and for all of our clients, don't worry, nothing's going anywhere. We're just expanding to upstairs now. We'll be on 2 different floors and have technically 3 different doors, which is its own thing. The real reason for doing this wasn't necessarily to kind of replicate what we had down there, just offer more sets. Obviously, one of the bigger pulls to having a second space was the ability to run things concurrently. At our current space, whoever's in the studio is in the studio, and thus we can only kind of make the same amount of money per hour or per whatever, per session, because there's only one person in there. So having an ability to have a second location, now we can obviously run 2 things at the same time. That'll make scheduling easier for certain people, and hopefully, in theory, make us more money. But the plans for up here are a little bit different. The big plan is that we're gonna get into small events, mastermind groups, workshops, big product launches or presentations, maybe little pop-ups, panel discussion, things of that nature. We should be able to pretty easily accommodate 30 to 50, maybe even 60 people up here. And so it is October 2nd today. We got our keys a little earlier last week, but technically the 1st was our first day in here. And I've been planning for this for the last month as the space was getting renovated. Again, they sealed off some things, threw some paint on the walls, switched out the floor, took down a couple of walls, removed some other things that we had asked for them to do, added a kitchenette and things. And I'm really excited to give you guys a tour of this space. I think a little bit later when it's a little bit more put together. As you can tell, it's a little bare right now. But before we jump to the tour of the new studio space, we have to give a shout out to our sponsor today, and that is Riverside. Riverside is actually one of the few softwares that I think is constantly evolving, always adding new things, and we love to see it. And so today we wanted to highlight their recent upgrades to their editor. One of the things that makes Riverside's built-in editor so unique is all of the AI features that they've been able to pack in. One of the newest features they've added is AI Producer, and there's a couple of tools under that toolbox as well. I've introduced Magic Audio and other clips, but now that they've expanded this into other things like Magic Mute, giving you the ability to mute the other person when they're not speaking, which cuts out a whole lot of editing time that would normally be taken up by cutting out the dead space. Another really cool feature is the Set Pace button, which allows you to cut out some of the dead space, the silence between sentences. Riverside will even let you know how much time you're cutting out by doing so, and it'll let you know how fast you'd like to set the pacing to be. One of the most standout features is dynamic smart scenes. This feature alone is going to save you a whole bunch of time while editing your podcast. This simple feature allows you to highlight a single person when they're talking, the 2 of you when you both are talking, and it does this seamlessly. Even before Riverside sponsored this YouTube channel, we were using them at our studio much before that. And it's simply because Riverside is a really unique tool that no one else is really providing in the market. So if you're new to podcasting or if you've been doing it a long time, Riverside is really an all-in-one solution as an editor, filmer, and everything in between. So if you're interested in checking out Riverside and want to get a discount on some of their plans, use code ANOVADIGITAL at checkout for a special discount from me. I want to thank Riverside once again for sponsoring this video, and now back to the tour.
And so let me give you a little rundown on just the lighting setup that we have set here. So I guess starting from the back, these are Amaran 4C2, I don't know, they're 4-foot tubes from Amaran. All the lights here are Amaran, and the main reason for that is so we can use Sidus Link to control everything. Downstairs we have, I feel like, things on 4 different apps, and it just really is a pain, and I've really enjoyed just having the mobile app. So we have 2 4-foot tubes in the back, and then as we progress over here, these are 200 watts, I think they're 200 S's or whatever they're called. Bicolor ones, just so we have the flexibility on those, but 2 of these lantern-style diffusers. We're going to need to do some work on the skirting of it, but just getting them up there for now. And then I have another 4-foot tube here that is just going to be kind of our front fill as well. And so most likely these will end up getting those not soft boxes, but kind of directional boxes. But I feel like they're like $100 or $200 like a piece. It just feels like a lot of money for those for whatever reason. So we'll see what ends up happening with those. My kind of signature pencil lights here, these are actually different ones than we have downstairs, but I feel like those always just add a little bit of fun ambiance, and they were like $100 for 2 of them, so why not? The chairs that you saw from the beginning, we finally got this kind of media console in from Wayfair. I'm pretty excited about this, and it's one thing that's kind of unique about it is it's extendable, and so you can see it's actually like stretched out. When it's fully collapsed, this wood piece will be covering that, but in its more full form, it hopefully covers a good chunk of this. Decent quality. It came assembled, which was like half the reason I decided to buy it. The plan is to now put a TV here, probably like a big 85, 86-inch TV there. The first video, that the audio quality is hopefully a lot better. Not phenomenal, but there is, like I said, about 600 pounds worth of sound panels up here. We did hire out to do that sort of stuff, and you can really tell a noticeable difference going from this room into just the kitchen over there, which I'll do in a minute. So we have our sound panels here. We have a couple just as you walk in there, but the majority of them went on the ceiling. And so there are 8 that kind of cover our main stage area here. We asked them to kind of angle these ones down. Of course, I'm really regretting not putting the wide angle lens on this as I started filming this video, but we continue on. And so these are looking pretty sweet. Stoked about those. Got 2 more on the ceiling here, 1 on the wall there, and then 3 on the back wall, as well as the final 4 above this table, because this is going to get used as another kind of content space for us. So in general, pretty happy with how the stage is. I mean, look at that. That looks pretty good, right? Excited for how that's coming. Still have furniture to assemble, but let's go into these other rooms here, because that's a good chunk of what I'm excited about too. So this room is going to be our tentative green room. And so this is going to be a room for people that had booked the space, the event space ideally. And this is just going to be their room to put their stuff, have a changing room. We're going to put curtains in. And so this will be kind of the room that is just, away from things. This also gives people that, if you're, more of a quote unquote special guest, you can hang in here until you're called on to stage. And so, yeah, got a couple more things to put in here, but we figured we'd leave a desk. We got a bunch of people that come in here and want to try to do some emails or work and stuff, so made sense. I bought this desk, and it's another one you'll see in a minute from the company that was in here before. So, yeah, that's the green room. This room over here is going to be our kind of general content room. As of now, just the one, but this will be its own kind of sealed off room. Some sound panels down there. But the whole concept with this is less podcasty and more direct to camera. We get a decent amount of people nowadays that are doing just short form content or reels, and we also want to start to venture a little bit more into educational courses, stuff like that. All right, so long form stuff where you need a 16:9 good looking set. And so the concept is to do one set here. This is the majority of what's here. There's a shelf that's going to go over on this side, and then obviously some lighting. I got to get a light bulb for the lamp, and I'm sure there'll be some other kind of tchotchkes that we fill in here and there. Whether we use these chairs or switch it up, that remains to be seen. This wall over here is not going to remain yellow. For whatever reason, I just didn't want them to paint it the blue, just in case we wanted to do white, which is probably what's going to happen. And so we decided to just leave that unpainted, because it would be easier to paint white over yellow opposed to white over this dark gray color. So another set over here, and then we'll see. Everyone loves exposed brick, so maybe we'll be able to do something here. You guys can also tell that we have natural light for once. We're so used to being in the cave downstairs, so having natural light's a big plus here. A couple more sound panels dedicated to this room, although probably not as many as I would have liked, but I don't really want to have them on the walls and force that look on people. And so, so here we are, but we'll probably do just like a single softbox, single C-stand. I have a big like grid diffuser that's like a moving one that we might try to use that. I'm sure we'll get some curtains, but should people want to have a natural light look, we can now offer that. So exciting with that. Moving over to the last kind of separate office, and the only one that's actually going to be an office here, and this is going to be me. So I've been doing my own businesses for years now. Obviously downstairs I had technically my own space, but I had realized over time that basically when people come in to use the studio, I end up just like, chatting with them, which I'm happy to do, but yeah, I ended up, kind of losing some time and spending more time distracted than actually being able to work on stuff. And then obviously too, whoever's in our studio downstairs, if you're there, you have to be quiet, like people are recording, and so I would be taking sales calls outside in the hallway, and that just got to be annoying. So this is gonna be my kind of just sole desk, our sole office. And so it's looking like I'm gonna have to bring our studio dog, Cam, in with me moving into the future here. So a little bit extra space for his crate and some, I'm sure we'll get him a little mat and stuff like that, because he probably will end up coming in to work with me a decent bit. Finally got some curtains in because, as you can imagine, the glare on a screen like that can be a bit much. But we're gonna have a desk set up back here, and so the concept with this is kind of similar to downstairs, 4-person thing. Still need to do some lighting here, but I found this U-line desk that, if you can tell from the video, is actually kind of like angled. And so the whole concept was with this is it's really actually supposed to be the opposite orientation. And so this side, you'd put a TV, everyone would sit on that side, and then the thought is that everyone would have a slightly better look at the TV from that side of the table because you're not having to jut in as far. So I couldn't tell you the exact measurements, but I mean, there's a foot difference, I guess, probably from this side to that side. But for our purposes, it really... Downstairs, I probably talked about it in the video, there's basically a struggle of keeping people in focus from the side camera because this person over here is a little bit further back than this person. And so by having it on a slight angle, it should actually improve the plane that they're sitting on. And so we'll see. This was a strange thing, and I was luckily able to find one from Uline. It has a nice little built-in, you know, why not? Not too bad. Wasn't too expensive. We'll see if white has glare on screen. I'm really hoping it doesn't. Got matching chairs to go with it. But as of right now, at least it's just this place that we could do meetings or just have people, or again, just another place for people to work. So this big, massive open area here. What's going to happen is when we're running events, we have a handful of tables and chairs. You can actually, let me see if I can zoom over there. They're over there. For people that want to have their guests have like desks, if we're doing like, workshops or seminars, something like that, instead of just having rows of seating, we'll at least be able to offer a seating with tables. And so we'll have a couple of those in front, and then we'll obviously have a whole bunch of folding chairs, that we could use for events and hosting people and such like that. So I think that we can fit a good chunk of people here. If this desk needs to move, if we're a little too packed, that's not going to be a problem at all. But yeah, we'll do that. Final room here is the kitchen. And so the kitchen is also going to double up as our kind of main media console. And in just a moment, I'll go into the cameras and what we're doing with that. But the concept, and you can probably hear the audio, gotten a good chunk more echoey. Still figuring out what I want to do with this TV monitor combo. Not sold on this right now, but we'll see. Anyway, all the cameras are going to feed through the ceiling down to here so that we can keep. We're not doing like a mega desk concept like I typically do. This is going to be a little bit more just out there, so it's not front and center for everybody, as well as hopefully lets whoever's going to be sitting here operating things be a little bit more focused on doing their job of switching. And just kind of handling all the technology back here. And so, as you guys could imagine, we are going to go with another ATEM switcher, but I'll break the news. It's an SDI version this time. It is not going to be HDMI, and the reason is a couple of things, but we really just needed longer length. These are 75 foot to get in the front there, and honestly, we probably could have used more. So. We have another Mackie DLZ coming in. The plan is not to do XLR mics for the majority of this setup. We're going to do wireless lavs, so we'll see if that was going to be overkill. But yeah, this is going to be the kind of backstage media room and just kind of the broadcast desk. Got a good hookup from our neighbor on this fridge. I was about to place an order for this like $1,500 kind of bench fridge for people to do some food prep because, we'll obviously have to feed people on these event days. And he's like, dude, we're trying to get rid of it. The front of it doesn't work. The ice machine and the water doesn't work, but $100 and we just had to move it down the hall is so much better than having to deal with another pain in the ass thing, getting it up the freight elevator and such. So pretty minimal in here for now. I'm sure we'll do a little bit more, but obviously the kitchen is not the main focus of this. Maybe I should have dove into this first, but the difference here is we are going with Blackmagic studio cameras instead of Sony whatevers. And so these are 4K G2 like studio Blackmagic, I don't know. And so I went through, man, going back from full frame cameras to crop sensor cameras, the focal lengths are weird. So I ended up buying some lenses that were not going to be as useful as these ones. So I could probably drop the link, but these are 2.8, I think, solid 2.8 throughout the range, the equivalent of like a 28 to 75. And so I think that these will be kind of the mainstays here. The reason for going with these over the FX30s or Sony cameras downstairs is pretty much a handful of things. But one, having the big screen on the back is going to be helpful for the operator. Yes, we're losing autofocus, but the cost kind of out the door for one of these as of now is $2,800, $3,000 with the lens. And so to get a similar setup would be about that for the FX30 without a monitor and stuff like that. And so I felt like this was the smarter route for future-proofing ourselves. I didn't do enough research and didn't realize that we'd have to run 2 SDI cables in case we wanted to have the camera control, which is a huge bummer. So maybe we'll move into that. As of now, I think we're just gonna run the single SDI cable to these, but having the ability to control the cameras from the back room there is obviously something of interest, just so we can not have to have as many people dealing with stuff. Certain lenses you can literally zoom in and out, adjust the brightness, all that sort of stuff. The plan is to also use the HDMI section on this, so it has SDI as well as HDMI. Downside of using this is that there's no you can't adjust, there's no SD card slot, so in case we just do general content, it'll be a little bit more challenging. We'll essentially have to run it through another ATEM, but we plan to do that through the HDMI settings. So behind all of these, I have just kind of mounted another HDMI, and we're gonna have like a little kind of mobile HDMI production cart, but these are going to be the main workhorses up here. Since they are in a studio environment, it felt fitting. We don't plan to take them out, so a lot of the other stuff is just not so needed. They, I'm sure, will live on these tripods. And so we'll see. It felt a little bit more legit. Maybe it was a foolish move, but we'll see. So we have 3 of these, various lenses to make things work. But that is going to be the main camera setup. Finally, went back and forth in my head about trying to figure out the best option for sound. We're not going to do concerts here. The only thing we'd really need is like a little bit of extra stuff for music and for voice. And so we went with this EV30M, I want to say it's called, just single speaker. And I felt a little weird just buying a single one, but for $1,300, I knew this would be powerful enough. And if I could just get past the fact of not having 2 and it kind of seeming weird in that sense, I could make it work. And I think that's what we're gonna do. So far I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, it gets plenty loud, and I'm sure it'll do a great job of just projecting people's voices a little bit more should we need that. But it's always one of those funny things where you will be dreaming something, imagining it, working towards it for a long time, and then when it actually starts to happen, it's a little like, wow, it's kind of crazy what you can manifest. That will conclude this tour for today. I know you guys like numbers on this channel, and so I probably won't do an absolutely detailed breakdown unless you guys want. But as of now, it's been about $40,000 to get all this stuff. The space that we're in is leased, so I'm not including that on it, but just as far as the core equipment, the stage being a good chunk of it, the sound panels and sound panel installation being a good chunk of it, the initial B&H Photo purchase of the cameras, the mixers, the wireless mics, miscellaneous this, that, lights, I already said that, a bunch of stuff. Man, the amount of just like little things here and there, buying furniture, the fridge, buying garbage cans, buying garbage bags, kitchen stuff, it all adds up. TVs, this, that, and the other thing, and so it feels good to be able to invest at that level when I started doing this. It was tough. I was on a shoestring budget, and I was trying to kind of make things work. And so to be at a point now where, I feel not only comfortable, but I'm obviously able to drop that sort of money. I don't want to say without batting an eye, but without really feeling so about it, is obviously a good thing, I think. I'm still super confident on what this business is going to do, what this new aspect of it, as well as just what this next level is going to look like for us. And so if you are as excited about this space as I am, I encourage you to subscribe, keep up with us. And if you're interested in getting into the studio business, we actually host a community of people that are doing this exact same thing from literally all over the world. About a year ago, I started that project. and it's been a really fun, rewarding part of it. Again, as you guys know, we kind of changed our YouTube channel to focus on this, so we really want to be a resource for studio owners. And we're hoping to do that. And this space is going to allow us to do even more things. Thank you to everyone that checked out the video, watched it till the end here, and I guess we will see you guys on the next one.